Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need pre-wishes.
Stay at home, Disney Dad.
Oh, I'm ready. The summer of love rolls on. Ads for more Herbie movies on the beginning of this Herbie tape. What is this? Winnie the Pooh. It's so weird seeing happy commercials for Old Yeller. Clips of the little boy saying, "Old Yeller, there'll never be another one like you." I mean, I guess. Was Old Yeller a really smart dog or something? I don't know. You know what has more brains than Old Yeller? The side of the barn. Yeah, Herbie goes to Monte Carlo. Let's go. Herbie has his own passport, and now he's on his way to Monte Carlo. Dean Jones returns as Jim Douglas. Don Knotts is Wheelie Applegate, and Julie Summers is Diane Darcy. There's an inspector and a Baron von Slick. Yeah, let's get it. Summer of Love Week 3. Give me more Herbie hijinks. I need it. The camera ops are trying to get wide handheld location shots from a helicopter. It's just shaky as hell. Pre-drone world was a completely different place. Back then, these kind of shots were super expensive and they always sucked. The music is different. It's less Austin Powers and more big band bumbler. We jump right to Don Knotts and Dean Jones and Herbie. Jones is back, like I mentioned. They're lost in Monte Carlo. They ask a traffic cop. He says, "Oh, oui, oui, the race." And then he laughs when they tell him, this car, Herbie, is the one that's going to win the race. Herbie pees oil on the dude, always a crowd pleaser. The good French people are going to get it this entire movie, aren't they? We get someone dressed like the WWF's Undertaker, overreacting with big arm and hand gestures. He promises a crowd a sneak peek of something at 1 p.m. The news is live from like the race meet and greet. They're meeting all the cars and the drivers, and Herbie pulls up and everyone's laughing, and Mr. Roper says, "Something funny must have happened," and Jim says, "Yeah, us." We learn that Herbie hasn't raced in 12 years, and this is their official comeback, but they have to qualify for the race first. This cocky Baron in a red race car says, "Herbie must be easy to keep clean. Just put him in the washing machine with your socks. Suck it, Herbie." The Undertaker dude has the world's rarest diamond on display in some gallery close by, and he has computers guarding it. Computers. This scene actually reminds me of the old Spider-Man cartoon episode where the Sandman steals a similarly looking diamond. The museum security guard barely closes the doors and the bumbler music starts up and the crooks emerge from inside a fake statue to steal this diamond, worth $6 million. They look like Chris Farley and Mr. Belvedere, which is a team up I would love to have had. The crooks use their own 1977 computer to override the security computer, and the average person still knows so little about computers, 45 years later that I watch this and I'm like, sure, sounds right. They use one of those extending accordion arms to grab the diamond. Back at the race meet and greet, Jim Douglas physically runs into some woman and they hit it off. Knotts sees this and says, "I'll make you a deal, Jim. I'll resist the girls while in Paris if you do as well." That's pretty funny. Don Knotts is a treasure, just sucks up every second of the scene he's in. Just wonderful stuff. The bumbler thieves, after all that, still set off the museum alarm, then they run and in perfect synchronization, both dive and roll through a glass window into the bushes. Wasn't expecting that. The cops descend. This is all happening next door to the race meet and greet, so Jim and Applegate get involved. The police are searching everyone in the crowd before they go home, so the thieves panic and they stash the diamond in Herbie's gas tank, and then Herbie drives away. Whoops, now they have to go to the qualifying rounds at 4:30 to find Herbie to get it back. The Baron talks more crap to Jim Douglas. Then Herbie falls in love with a race car that is number 7. I think that's what's happening. He takes off and we get the Austin Powers music again. Herbie doesn't so much want to win the race as he wants to catch up with the hot number 7 car. And he's like going nuts beside this car and he's blasting romantic music from his radio and he's driving backwards. So Herbie is number 53 and she's number 7. Together that would only make 60. It would have been much funnier if her car was number 16 instead. Give it a second. That's a math joke. I'll bet the person driving 7 is the girl Douglas stumbled into earlier today. Herbie drives backwards in front of 7 like I mentioned. Not sure if that's the same woman, but it is a woman driver. After they both lose, she storms out of her car and is like, "Just because I'm a woman racer doesn't mean you can do whatever you want to me." The officials tell Douglas that he has one more chance to qualify after that stunt. The Baron is a great character. He looks like one of the Sacha Cohen characters. All right, we're at the second qualifying race. Same thing. Herbie just wants to mate with car number 7. They say they lost the first qualifying, or no. Or is this still the same round? Okay, the thieves show up next to the next indoor drivers meet and greet, and they want to get they want to find the Douglas car to get the diamond back out of Herbie, and it's not there yet. And one bumbler says, if we don't get that diamond, Double X is going to mark our graves with his X. So they work for the mysterious Double X. This is like the plot of Cars 2. They turn off the lights, and then Herbie backs away from the bumblers. The one guy's wristwatch alarm keeps going off, and I feel like that's going to be a thing later. Okay, we see a wide shot of Herbie driving itself down the street, and you can see someone slouched down in the driver's seat. I mean, it's all good. Once again, their depiction of French people is nasty but expected. Herbie is stalking number 7 on its own now while everyone else is still at the meet and greet, and this overacting waiter watches the cars flirt and go off by themselves, and this guy reacts like this over and over and over. The scene is like 10 minutes long. Herbie gets dirty and drives through a fountain in the park. Cheesecake music plays. I guess Herbie frolicking in the fountain is supposed to be hot. Herbie tosses flowers onto the windshield of number 7. Herbie parks in front of her and flashes his taillights. 7 comes along and flashes her headlights, and now they drive off together. They play in the park, and what am I watching? Jim and Applegate and the lady who owns number 7 are like, where'd our cars go? They hop into a cab and they look for their cars. Jim asks her, where would you take someone on their first date out here? And she's like, is this you shooting your shot? And he's like, if I was coming on to you, would I do it with this loser in the car with us? And he points to Applegate, and the cab driver's like, I like where this is going. They find their cars, and their cars are on a romantic boat cruise together. I've just turned my mind off and I'm having fun now. Applegate has a talk with Herbie about his crush. We're over here trying to make a comeback, not to fall in love. The inspector and his partner that looks like that Sacha Baron Cohen character come to their hotel room and asks about the diamond. The bumblers are outside trying to pry off Herbie's gas cap, but Herbie ain't letting it go. The bumblers bumble and Herbie makes fools of them. Okay, it's the next day. I guess this is the qualifying race 2. That last day was just race 1. And Herbie's heart isn't in it because he's in love. Jim threatens to have him stuffed and hung on a wall, and Herbie doesn't care because Herbie just wants to number 7. Regardless, Herbie qualifies and breaks a record. Now the girl in number 7 try to qualify, but now her car is smitten with Herbie, and she wins her qualifying race by a mile and ties Douglas's record. Everything's happening once. Jim Douglas tries to explain to the driver of number 7, okay, hold on. Her name is Diane Darcy. He tries to explain to Diane that Herbie is possessed, so is her car, and they fall in love with each other, but he's stumbling over his words because it sounds insane. But then she offers, when the men come from the booty hatch, go quietly. What? I have no idea what that means. The race is over. The bumblers come and they drive beside Herbie, who's on the highway on the way home, and they pull a gun on Jim Douglas to get him to pull over, but Herbie speeds away and drives through a campground, almost killing dozens of campers, and just as a gypsy tells a man, darkness is about to descend upon you, Herbie drives by and the palm reader's tent gets knocked over, so it collapses on them, and you hear the guy say, hey, you're good! Herbie escapes, and Applegate is like, can you believe Diane hired them to kill us? Nice. Applegate gets Jim all riled up, and he goes to Diane's house and confronts her, accuses her of trying to get them killed, and she comes unglued and starts whipping stuff at him and does the whole, I've had to work 100 times harder at this just because I'm a woman speech, and it's pretty good. The bumblers call Double X, who turns out to be Inspector Boucher. The inspector, I didn't see that coming. Okay, so he's the secret bad guy. They tell him they can't find Applegate and Davis, no idea where they are, and then Applegate and Davis show up at the police station and ask the inspector if they could put Herbie in protective custody for the night, if he's not too busy trying to find the diamond. That's some good stuff. I give the writers some props here. Inspector Double X is about to take the car, but then his partner, who's not in on the scam with the inspector, is like, buddy, you have enough on your plate. Give me the keys, let me take Herbie and I'll hide him where no one will ever find him, and I'll bring him back for the race tomorrow. And he drives away and the inspector gets on the phone and he tells his bumbler henchman, when Herbie shows up to the race tomorrow morning to get gas, you be there. Fade to race day. They're waiting for Herbie to be returned. Everyone's just standing around. I just finally noticed all the logos on their jackets. Bell helmets and Goodyear are plastered everywhere in this movie. The inspector shows up and he wants to know where Herbie is as well. The bumbler thieves are undercover as a gas crew. Diane shows up and apologizes for trying to kill Jim Douglas after he accused her of trying to have them killed. And the climax of this movie is coming together nicely. Now Baron comes and is like, did you misplace your little car? All of this is money. All this dialogue. Oddly enough, This has been the best Herbie movie so far. The script is pretty tight. The race is beginning and Herbie is still missing. Now number 7, the car herself, doesn't want to race until Herbie shows up. Is this car a launch? Is that what it's called? I had to look it up. It's a Lancia. I'm not a car guy, not at all. Applegate gives her car, the Lancia, a pep talk. And she should race without Herbie after all. The race starts and no Herbie. This is 1997 and Don Knotts looks young and old at the same time. I can't explain it. They're sad because they're missing the race, but then an armored truck shows up and Herbie is in the back. The bad guys get the gas nozzle ready and I'm actually amped to see what happens here. But then the inspector's partner, the good guy, goes, "Hey, stop, I filled it this morning, you don't have to do it." So where did the diamond go? Oh, he tells the inspector he thinks they should actually search Herbie for the diamond because it was there that day. And yeah, I think that's why he finally connected those dots. But he thinks the diamond might be in the car. And the inspector's like, "There's no way we could search it now. They're in a race." Herbie doesn't want to race. And Applegate lies to Herbie now and's like, "Number 7 went on a race without you. She doesn't care about you. That's what women do. You've been dumped." And Herbie freaks out and he gets angry and he races out of anger. Now everyone is waiting for Herbie at the finish line and the inspector's partner informs him that he alerted the authorities and the police will be waiting to inspect Herbie for the diamond at the finish line as well. Meanwhile, a lied to and betrayed by his owners, Herbie is crushing the race. I'd love to see how much of these 4 Herbie movies are actually just actors sitting in a car pretending to steer in front of a green screen. A helicopter lands and the thieves hop out and get into a car and they do the Scooby-Doo thing again where they put up a fake race detour sign to trap Herbie. Herbie takes the bait, takes the turn, they hit a dead end and Wheelie Applegate starts yodeling. And he starts a rock slide and Herbie gets buried in rocks. No, he doesn't. Rocks just fall on him a bit. They're not big. The thieves come and point a gun at them to get out of the car. Herbie drives in reverse and Wheelie yodels again and causes a second rock slide that covers the bumblers. They might be dead. Herbie goes in reverse all the way back the way they came. And then he goes forward and he joins the race again. I mean, I understand. These are supposed to be goofy movies and require a certain level of suspended disbelief. But I will never get used to Herbie leaving every single race multiple times for these 10-minute like side adventures and then immediately catching back up to the other cars when he returns. They pull over because suddenly there's no gas getting to the gas, like there's no gas in the car anymore, but then they find the diamond in the tank and that's what's obscuring the gas flow. And just like that, the bumblers come out of the bushes with a gun and they want the diamond, but Herbie causes a distraction and Jim kicks some bumbler ass. It's a pretty good fight scene actually for 1977. Herbie gets involved and the 3 of them dispatch the thieves and they tie the bumblers up with booster cables. And just like that, they're back in the race. They pass Diane's car, but it's crashed in the lake. And Jim wants to turn around and help her, but Herbie won't because he's still heartbroken. He's mad at number 7. So Jim has to throw Applegate under the bus. It's like, "He lied to you, Herbie. 7 loves you." So Herbie turns around and they go back. And Diane is like drowning in her car. So the men have to save her after all. Yep. They pull her out, and she's like, "Oh, I missed a shift and lost control." And the female empowerment is officially over in Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Herbie pulls the car out as well. Now, they touch doors. I'm not sure what that's supposed to symbolize, but it's hot. Herbie won't start now because number 7 is out of the race, so Diane gives Herbie a pep talk and is like, "You're not a quitter, Herbie. Win it for them and win it for her," and points to her car, and he fires up, and he won't let Applegate in, though, because he's mad at him for lying to him. Wheelie gets down on his knees and begs Herbie to let him in. The evil inspector is now meeting with that Alonzo Hawk guy from the last movie. This part went right over my head. There was like a 1-minute part with this guy. Herbie's fighting to beat the Baron for first place. They go through a tunnel, and to pass Baron, Herbie drives upside down on the roof of the tunnel, and they win the race, and they have the greatest comeback in race history. Jim gets a giant Christmas wreath and gives a speech. Applegate stares at this girl's chest, and Inspector shows up, and they're like, "Check it out, Inspector, it's the diamond. Here you go." But just before they hand it to him, his partner pops out and is like, "Hey, look, it's the diamond, like I said." They tell him that they arrested 2 thieves that were tied up over there, but they have to be working for a mastermind boss, and the inspector's like, "It was me, Austin. It was me all along," and he pulls out a gun, but then Herbie pops the hood and knocks the gun out of his hand, and the inspector is arrested, and we go to the ending. Jim Douglas is out on the town with Diane on his arm, and hey, what's happened to his wife from the first movie? Didn't he get married in The Love Bug? Jim Douglas, you cheating bastard. Oh, Herbie and number 7 are gone together on a date, and Diana's like, "Hey, my car's name is Gazelle, and she's an independent woman like me and can do whatever she wants." And then asks Jim Douglas,
"Shall we make it a foursome?"
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and